Mate, we're going to take a case up on top of the hill tonight.
I'm telling you.
Direct from Nimbin.
Yeah.
It was a countback and it was pretty rigged.
What?
Not like David.
Have we got security here?
Rightio, welcome to the Drivers Only live edition right here in the heart of Bathurst at the Knickerbocker Hotel. I've got Aussie Jack Perkins and everyone knows Mark Skaife, two of the probably biggest names, Perkins and Skaife, that have ever sort of gone around the mountain. So it's amazing to have you guys here and doing this with me. What are your thoughts rolling into town? First, I know when I come in with Jack each year for all that time, he gets a little jittery as he comes over the hill and sees the signs. It's the same for you, Mark.
It always is. James, thanks for being our host tonight. I'm a bit of a virgin in this whole podcast situation.
The mostest.
But no, always great to be back in town. And first thing that everyone does is do a little lap of the circuit this afternoon. So it's just an unbelievable racetrack. And we love the annual pilgrimage of people from all around the country and overseas to come here.
It is. It doesn't get any old, does it? Like you drive in, and the first time you get to see that sign, Mount Panorama, you just get a bit, whoa, this is pretty cool. It just brings back memories from a kid. I turned, 39 years old, and this is my 39th trip to the Bathurst 1000. I haven't missed one, so here's hoping for another 39.
I mean, I find with the first lap is probably one of the only laps all year when you first go out of the car, out on track, and it's one of the only places where you get a real sense of speed. I reckon every time I've ever come here since the first time with you in 2005, and you come down into Conrod, it's that time when you're like, holy crap, we are moving coming into here. So it is pretty special. There is a lot of elements to the circuit which are pretty spectacular, but also, we're here on Tuesday, and look how many people are here already, and up on the hill, it's already, people have been camping for a few days already. It's that atmosphere, as soon as you roll into town, it just oozes this place.
It certainly does. Explain the first year, 2005, with Richard.
It was short. There was a lot of practice and stuff, which was fine. The race was quite short. I think we got 7 laps.
No, you're selling yourself short, James. Your first practice session was pretty impressive. I think you did like an 8.4 or something to be like P2 in a co-driver session. You'd never even seen the place.
The race was a little different, but 8.4, it sounds, I reckon you could do that in a Mini around here now. But it was amazing. I remember, I've raced so many amazing circuits in my career, whether it's Suzuka or, Brands Hatch Grand Prix, all that sort of stuff. And I remember coming here thinking, geez, as a kid watching it my whole life, worrying that it wasn't going to live up to the expectations. They say you should never meet your hero. But rolling out around here, my first ever time in a HRT Commodore, wearing all the red, driving up Mountain Straight, it was a real pinch me moment, and it was pretty special. But yes, the practice session went well, race not so much. I've got the excuse.
Which page of the book is this out of?
I can't remember it exactly, but anyway, I hit the wall at the top of the hill and broke the watts, and it was all over on lap 7. So Bridie in front of me had a bit of a slide and just grazed it, and I was sort of behind him, and because I was behind him, and I saw him just hit it, so I turned to try and get off the wall a little bit, and then just slapped it, and it was all over. And then I watched you win.
But remind me why we let you start that year. How did that happen?
Obviously, you thought I was good.
Yeah, well, we must have, but I just thought, why wouldn't we have started Richard?
Yeah, have you ever done a standing start to that? Oh, I suppose all your Formula 3 stuff and Formula Ford would have been standing starts.
Yeah, but the previous 3 years in Super GT was all rolling starts. So, yeah, it was the first standing start for a while, so I was probably a little jittery from that. But it actually is a pretty good point why I did start that. Do you think the guy, he was 57 at the time?
Yeah, he was going pretty good, wasn't he?
He had plenty of experience.
Yeah.
He got it into the 10 as well.
He did.
In qualifying, and he was pretty quick.
So whose call would have that been to let James, the rookie, start?
Obviously, I wasn't involved in that. But think about that. I mean, one of the crazy things about the race, and we always talk about 1,000 Ks and all that stuff, but the first 5 laps is like a sprint race, or 10 laps is just like a sprint race.
Yeah, even like on the weekend or last year, or that year there was a big crash just out of turn 1. It's everyone forgets, I think, here. It's the whole get caught up in the atmosphere. It's one of the few places I think that you can hear the start, like hear the people, the crowd at the start of the race over the engine. So it is weird how hard people push in that first initial few laps around here.
Hey, Jack, what about...
you guys had a good start here. Was it 2007?
2006, that wasn't great.
We've both, Mark and I, both forgotten about that.
That wasn't great.
I haven't forgotten about it. That was great. That was Exeter turn 1 on the lead into turn 2, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, that was really good.
Yeah, next question.
Shortest price favourites in history. Pole position after Peter Brock had passed away that year. A lot of pressure in Holden land, and starting from pole, same clutch as the year before with 2005 win. And clutch failure, and I only got about 1 kilometre, and my little mate gave it a...
But we're good, aren't we?
No, we're fine. We're fine. It's no problem. It's no problem.
I did get a lot of Ford fans that day, Mark.
Did you? Yeah.
Lifelong Ford fans.
Yeah, anyway, that was a bad story. I was about to say to you, with engineering Jack face on, one of the things at Bathurst, because the gearing's so high, and mostly you're running around with full tanks of fuel and stuff. How's the engine always feel here? It always feels like a doughy car here for whatever reason, doesn't it? With that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. And to Mark's point, yeah, we run a really tall set of gears in the cars for Bathurst, obviously for the long Conrod straight. And when I first started, that was a 3.25, and now it's effectively a 3.10, so it's even worse. And to the point where we're almost first gear out of the cut-in and first gear at Forest Elbow. But when you've got a full tank of fuel on and you're trying to get off the line and get up the hill and everything, it feels like the engine is missing a cylinder. It's got so little power with such slow acceleration that it's just unlike any other track. That's why the starts are so tricky here. We use a lot more throttle percentage, and there's a lot more clutch slip that's required and everything to get the car off the line. And it's a tricky one because you've got to think of the race, obviously, and then getting it off the line, and then the first lap, you're punching it back to first gear in a few spots, trying to make some holes and keep position or make some position.
And this year you were allowed to start the co-drives again, whereas last year, obviously, they made everyone start the main guys. So it should be interesting to see how that pans out, because a lot of people, there'll be a lot of guys that haven't started a car like that with that diff ratio around here, so it would be something to watch at the start.
No doubt, and I think one of the things too is that with the fuel capacity reduced and the percentage of the co-driver involvement higher than ever, so it's not the 2/3 number anymore, so you've got to do basically 3 stints, going to be 25 or 26 lap runs. Co-driver is going to be massively important.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be fascinating to watch that play out, because it might not mean that everyone starts co-drivers too. There could be an even mix, but we're going to have to wait and see, work out exactly what the fuel mileage is and how far it's going to be, how many stops we do. But I'm not worried if James wants to do more of the race than me, I can promise
Who do you want to start?
Well, since 2006, I'll be honest, I don't really like starting. I didn't get very far. I've tried to avoid it starting it every year since, if I'm honest. But the last time I started, I think we ended up on a podium, James. So,
oh, good point. Speaking of young guys that are coming here with not a heap of experience with that sort of stuff, we've got Nash Morris and Richie Stanaway. Richie's obviously won the race before.
Make some noise.
Hey, boys.
Welcome.
Hello, mate. How are you?
How are you, mate?
How are you?
Nash's dad's
Nashy.
won the race, so we've got a few race winners here, except myself and Jack, but the families have won. What are you guys looking forward to most about getting back here to Bathurst?
I think for me, just being on the different tyre this year. Obviously, the tyre we drove on in 2023 was a little on the soft side, and then we went to the hard tyre last year, which was tricky in its own way. So I think the tyre we have on the car this year is really gonna suit the car and suit the race, and we're going to be able to push really, really hard. So I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most. I think the stints are going to be really enjoyable.
Mate, you're a Bathurst winner. Like, you and Mark are the only ones here that actually won the race. Is it pretty cool to come back here and say I've won this bloody thing?
Yeah, absolutely. It's it was a bit of a fairy tale for me. My career was sort of went pretty rough for a few years, and didn't race for a while, and then to come back and win the race is just felt like a fairy tale for me. So it's funny though. I remember when I was preparing to get back into racing, to come and do that race, first of all with the wild card, and then coming back again to drive with Shane. I remember thinking, if I could just win that race, it'll make up for 10 years of bad luck or whatever. And then as soon as you win it, you're kind of like, oh, well, you know, I'm going back full time next year. So now I just want to win it again as a main driver, you know. So you only get a week or two really to enjoy it before your expectations move. And, you know, now being back racing full time, and you want to be the guy to win it again, you know, but be the one to see the checkered flag, you know, out of the windscreen instead of being in the garage. But, you know, considering, you know, where my career had been for a few years, it's definitely, you know, very much appreciated achievement, that's for sure.
Where do you rate the track, Richie? You've raced all around the world. Where do you rate it? I mean, it's got this amazing reputation in this part of the world, but what about in Europe?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it's the best car race in the world, you know, and that's what dragged me back here from Europe, really. I think driving a supercar around this track, it's got to be the hardest thing in the world you can do in motorsport. I mean, I might be a little bit biased, you know, being from this part of the world, but yeah, I mean, the level that everyone's driving at, you know, to win this race, it's got to be up there as, you know, if I would say it's the hardest thing to do. So it's such a good combination, you know, the style of car that we have, the circuit. You know, I drove some really good combos over in Europe, you know, Le Mans and the Nordschleife in a GT3 car. They're great as well. But ultimately, I think this is the biggest challenge, and, you know, that's why I'm here now.
And Nash, I suppose you've been coming here your whole life, a bit like Jack, and watching your dad go through everything. You've raced everything this year from, you know, I think 10 different categories throughout the whole year, racing every weekend, working at Norwell, obviously. So you've had so much seat time, preparation coming into this weekend. It must be feeling. Do you feel like you're ready? Have you done enough? You know, what are you looking forward to?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I'm ready. It's pretty cool thinking back 11 years ago when my dad won the race. That was probably really the only race I really remember, because he obviously won it. I had no interest in motorsport whatsoever until a little bit after that. So, you know, I've worked pretty hard to get to this point in my career, and I'm really excited to hit the track against some people that I grew up, you know, watching, like yourself. You probably feel a bit old racing against me, but that's the goal. Yeah, it's definitely a pretty cool experience.
Mate, I got to see your old man a bit earlier today, and I was telling him we were going to do the podcast, and we were talking about you when you were younger, and he said you'd only come to the racetrack if you could bring your PlayStation and sit in the motorhome and play PlayStation. Is that true?
It is, yeah. And one time I got really angry because he unplugged the power to the motorhome, and I started blowing up. But yeah, I used to just sit in the motorhome and play probably, I don't know, Call of Duty or something, and then I didn't even know the race was on. I'd like come out and Dad would be like, "Oh, we finished." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
So what was it that flicked that switch for you? Obviously you weren't interested at all. So what was the turning point?
It is a funny story. So
I've heard a version of this. I'll be interested to see if it's the same version.
Probably is. I don't know if it's something to be proud of or not, but it was around when Anton and Brody were hanging around my dad a lot, when Anton was like starting his main game career and Brody was kind of following him through. They obviously lived with us for a while, and so they used to bring a lot of girls around to the house.
This is the version I've heard.
And at this point I was like a little chubby fat kid just playing video games in my room.
Go steady here, Nash.
And then I was like, oh, this just must be an easy way to pull girls. So I was like, I just started racing.
So were they right, or?
What's that?
Were they
worked
right?
out for you?
I do have a girlfriend for 4 years, so I guess so, yeah. And I'm punching her well above my weight, so yeah, it's worked.
Don't worry, we all are on that. One I was going to ask, because the old man, that was such an epic race that year. I mean, they effectively mossed it in your old man. They led for a kilometre for the whole day, started at the back and led right at the end of the race. What are your memories? Did you actually engage in that at all? Did you end up saying, wow, this is cool?
I don't think I actually went into the garage until probably the last lap. Because I was like, oh, it looks like, they're second, that's cool. So I went out there, and then obviously my dad, no, what actually happens, he ran into the motorhome because I was just sitting in there, and he's like, oh, we're about to win. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So then I followed him out. Then obviously I just seen him, how emotional he was after 20-something attempts at and he obviously won it when it was a Super Tour era back in '98, and they took it off him. So it meant a lot to him, which was pretty cool. And I was actually really sad because every time I'd come down on the road trip with my dad, and that was the one time I couldn't go back because he had to do all the media the next day, and I had to go back to school. So I remember being really sad about that, which was quite funny. But no, that's probably the number one thing I remember about it, just seeing how emotional he was about obviously winning the race.
And partnering up with Richie's, obviously you get so much experience with all the stuff he's done internationally and everything. Is it been good? Have you learned a lot from him? And obviously he does different stuff to what you probably have been taught by your dad and all those guys. Is it interesting to see the two different styles?
Yeah, it's really good. Obviously when Richie did it with Shane, he's obviously learned a lot from that. And then Shane's also been very helpful to me over the years with a lot of stuff at Norwell. But it's always interesting to see someone else's point of view on how to go car racing and how to maximise their day. But it's been really cool.
I'm interested to speak to you about that, Richie, because you've gone from two completely different ends of the spectrum. 2-3 years ago, you were co-driving with Shane Van Gisbergen and winning the race. Now you're the lead driver and you've got a rookie teammate. It's a fairly different task that you're faced with in that situation, right?
Yeah, I've probably done it as many times as a co-driver as I have full-time now. So I've got a lot of sympathy for co-drivers. Working with Dale last year and now Nash, just feeding them information at times that maybe the team hasn't quite thought of, just to make sure that they're comfortable, because the guys that have only ever raced full-time, probably don't have a lot of sympathy at times for the co-driver.
Oh, calm down.
So I just like to make sure that, if I was in their situation, I'm giving them what I would like to have. So, I'd like to think I'm a pretty good person to, to drive with. But, and it's, it's quite funny when you think back to co-driving. It all looks so daunting when you're just doing your co-driver sessions and you're looking at the pace of the main guys, and it's hard to get your confidence up. But then, it's quite satisfying to come back to race full time, and you get your seat all perfect, and you're in the car every month, and you just get so many laps and so many miles, and then you start to piece together. Oh yeah, I can sort of see why those guys are so confident and so fast, and that are in the top 5. So it can be quite rewarding, to chip away and get up to that point, after being a co-driver. So it's good.
Jack and I were talking on the way in about how hard I think it is for the co-drivers nowadays to come in, because of the way we set the cars up with front droop, rear droop, and if you're not driving the car aggressively and using the droop and making it do the stuff it does, typically in the old days, if it was a little bit nervous on the entry, you could just slow the entry down a bit and get that stability and then work on the exit. Whereas now, you can't even do that, because the moment you slow down the entry, then the droop's not working, so then it's pushing aggressively, and then it snaps so much more on the exit. So it is such a challenge for these guys to jump in and continue and be consistently quick. And I think that's the tricky part with co-driving nowadays, as to when I did it, is that the cars are so unique to drive and so hard to drive on the edge now, but you can't just drive back a little bit. So it is a tricky balance, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's why arguably the inverted commas best co-drivers are the full-timers that are retiring, because they've just come out of years and years of qualifying and racing, and they're kind of still in pretty good shape. Like I was saying to you after Taylor and Ben, James, like I've been doing this part-time co-driving stuff for 10 years and it doesn't get any easier. And I said to you, like, if you co-drive next year, do you think you'll be doing that in 10 years' time? And I think you looked at me and kind of thought, yeah, probably not, but time will tell. But yeah, I'd be interested to see if James ends up co-driving next year. You're going to give us any sort of revelations?
Insight?
Yeah.
Bit of insight?
No, none at all.
Not many people here.
None
We'll
at
keep
all.
it a secret.
Yeah.
No, none at all. Not going to say anything.
Okay. Hey, your point before about the soft tyre, because this, I reckon, is a really good call for this year. One of the great things about the tyre is it's much more like a steer-style tyre, makes the car a bit more oversteery and things. But it also doesn't have as many marbles normally, which is a good thing for late in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the toughest thing really is just everyone's driving it at such a high level. Even if the track is a little cleaner offline, so you could maybe think about making a move, it's really hard to get around people because of the level that everyone's driving at. But we thought the hard tyre was going to have a lot of incidents last year, and obviously it was the opposite. And I think that just shows the quality of the field. It's just so high that the mistakes are getting lower and lower. And but the hardest thing is just finding your way around people. And, normally you'd come to a race like this and you just don't care about qualifying. You just do race runs all week and you just, you always want to be in the shootout. But I feel like now it's actually heading in a direction where you kind of need to qualify in the top 5 because, the pace is just so high at the front. If you don't have track position, it's really hard to get it back. Even if you qualify 5th and something goes wrong and you go back to 10th and you're halfway through the race, it's getting so hard now to get that track position back, and it's very easy to get stuck. So I reckon there's more importance now on qualifying than there probably ever has been. If you start on the front row, it's going to make your day a lot easier.
If you get off the line.
That helped. Just thinking about a bit of a question without notice, talking about the marbles, do we clean the track up at safety cars during the race? I can't remember, because I was waiting for someone to ask me about NASCAR, but no one has yet. But over there, they clean the track up in all the cautions. I couldn't believe how clean the track was after. Maybe that's something we need to do here over the length of the race, is clean up the marbles so that the race line isn't as narrow over the top of the mountain and maybe induce a bit more racing. But let it rain. Get the Bernie Eccleston sprinklers on, you reckon?
Hey, Richie, do you put Nash in at the end of the first session? Because the co-driver session, P2, is obviously exclusive. Do you put him in at the end of the first session to give him a bit of a feel? What do you, in terms of session planning?
It's not on our run plan, but now that you mention it, it's something we might actually think about. The plans are always pretty flexible. We've got probably 3 options that we haven't really settled on one yet, but the biggest thing really is managing the tyre bank throughout the week. It's always a different batch when we come here because there's so many tyres. So it's how much do you trust the tyre batch from Tail and Bend, and when do you get onto your race allocation, and how much you use them throughout the week, and how many sets of greens you want to take away from the race. And I think that's the biggest element of
live
planning.
For the now, mate. Use them all up.
Yeah, well,
13 sets. Use them all up.
I'd rather
exactly. Use them all up.
Give me 3
I'd rather be running good with a couple hours to go and realise I got no greens left than be 20th but have 10 sets of greens. So I think maybe we do put him in at the end of practice 1 just so he's got that a lap or 2 of muscle memory before he gets in.
Aussie Jack's going in.
Yeah.
I think it's going to rain Thursday anyway.
That's why you're going in.
That's why you're
going in. We might have you do the whole session.
Yeah. You might be exclusively both sessions.
Right, it'll be like at Tail and Bend, right as it starts to rain. Hey, we should throw Jack in.
I couldn't even find the wiper switch, so I was glad that happened. Now I know where it is.
And then you couldn't work out because it goes the knobs from 0 to 10.
Yeah, but
it stops working after 4, like it said. So he was in the wrong phase of the thing. So anyway, it's all adjusted now.
No, I'm glad I figured that out there and not over the top of Bathurst.
You looking forward to it, mate?
Yeah. How could you not?
And we're just talking about that. You're all over the steering wheel, know where all the wipers are and all the modes and all that. So do you guys? Sorry to jump around. Do you change the throttle? Do you play with the map throughout the race as the tyre's going off?
Nah, leave it welded. Yeah.
What number are you welded at? Oh, it's a different
guy.
I'm using it corner to corner. Maybe
it's a
that's
bit like the brake bias.
Maybe that's where I'm going wrong.
Sorry, Nash. Back to you.
For the bend, I was fine, but the problem is I'm doing Super 2 as well this weekend, so it will be hard to. And I think hopefully with the tyre that the grip level will be obviously a bit more similar now. But obviously when you get in, everything's different. You got roll bar adjusters, you got a quick bias adjuster.
Switches in different spots.
Yeah, so that'll be the hardest thing is just, and I think with me not jumping in at end of practice 1 probably might be a bit better for the Super 2 side of things. But obviously you've got to do a good job at both. So
the Camaro is that good off the corner. You don't need to play with the
Oh, mate, I've been driving behind those things all year. A long way behind them most of the time, but behind them and the punt, the torque's pretty good. Don't talk to me about torque on those things. But
how you drive changes?
They've been pretty good.
Yeah.
I reckon our best one was in the race, so that's always good.
Yeah, we can do 17 seconds, pretty consistent.
Is that it?
15 if it's a good one. Consistent.
Oh, Jack, stop it. What's yours?
oh, don't tell them.
Come on.
Tell them the price, son.
Come on.
What did we do in the race? I think it was an 11.
Yeah, but that's like a BMX dad stopwatch, isn't it?
No, that was in the race.
No,
That's Tim Blanchard.
That was just me getting out, not James getting in.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But it is an unusual thing. You do practice it and with no stress, and then when they jump in at the race and you sit half on a belt and you're trying to pull it out, it is a much they say, oh, we've got plenty of time for the fuel. I think every time you use up every second you got and you're pulling the belts tight down the straight, or you lose the helmet hose or something, there's always something.
It's always good as a co-driver when you know you're not getting back in, so you don't need to worry about if the helmet hose has gone missing. It's just leave it to the main driver to sort it out.
I reckon the worst co-driver I ever had was David Bernard. He was like a caged beast when he come out of the thing. As soon as the door would open, his helmet's connected, you have to push him back in. He's ripped his duct off, and you're trying to disconnect the duct and plug it in, and he'd forget his earplugs weren't plugged in. He was just a mess. But Jack's pretty organised with it all, which is good. Yeah,
I'll keep that in mind, actually. I might stir you up through the race. A couple of times we've left notes for each other in the truck because it's the longest we go a weekend without talking to each other.
He misses me. But we'd love to thank you both for coming on. It's been great. Hopefully you have a great weekend.
Well done.
Just behind us.
Hopefully not.
Enjoy yourselves. Thank you. You're
Thanks,
free
boys.
to go.
Well done.
What have we got? Fan questions now, have we?
Hello.
Are we firing them out to the crowd? How's it work, James? You're running the show.
Is my thing back on? Hello? Yep.
The question was, what did I think of the NASCAR Xfinity Series? It was great. Yeah, obviously a great opportunity. No, I'm certainly not looking at any full-time options or buying property over there or anything, but it was just scratching an itch for me. I actually first went to America to watch a NASCAR race with Nash's father, Paul, back in 2008 to watch Ambrose, and I just love the road course stuff ever since. So, it was a really cool opportunity and a good way to do some racing this year to prepare for this weekend at Bathurst.
I really enjoyed the trip too. So
yeah, James got to come over and sample a few beers from over there.
What's the differences in the cars like? I mean, is he just doing it easy now on the road course, or is it got a bit more slide in it with Repco Supercar?
It's an interesting question about if the cars are similar or how they're different, but I think the philosophy of driving the cars is pretty similar. Like, they're a big, heavy car, they've got good horsepower and low grip. So the kind of physics of that are pretty similar. You've got to work out how to get it around the corner as quick as you can. But I think what Shane's doing over there, and sort of how I was able to run competitive, is more a testament to the Supercars Championship. It's a very competitive deal over here, and not to sell anyone short of what they're doing over there, because Shane's doing a phenomenal job. But there's a lot of guys in Australia that could go over there and do a good job as well. So I think it's a testament to Supercars. What we're doing here is world class. Okay, we need better rims.
But to your point, I mean, that was an unbelievable run when you were there. You were the lead Toyota when you went out. So to be able to go there and basically be able to be at the pointy end is real credit, mate. Great job.
Thanks, Mark. It was great. And, obviously it would have been nicer to sit here with, a P2 or a P3, but it didn't happen. But we got to the point where we could have been there or thereabouts, and I'm proud of that. But as a race car driver, you're always disappointed unless you win. But if I never get to go over to America again, I can be satisfied that I give it a crack.
Jimmy Richards used to say that when he drove, because he actually did quite a lot in them in those days in NASCAR, won that race at Fuji with all the gurus. But he used to say that when the cars were good, they were just unbelievable to drive. When they were bad, they were the worst devices of all time.
And I think the big thing with them is, they're bigger and heavier, and they're probably not as much as of a race car as what we've got, smaller brakes and things like that. So it's back to how it's used to be in supercars probably 30, 40 years ago, when you've got to look after the car a bit. You can't cook your brakes too early in the race, and you can't over-rev the engine all day, and, just got to manage your stuff. And, I think they're slowly, like their Cup Series cars that Shane's driving are a lot more like what we've got now. They're, not saying they're not proper race cars, but that's kind of where they've come from, the stock car thing. I remember when Russell Ingall drove one here in the late 90s at Bathurst. I think they were doing about 320 down Conrod, but they literally had to brake before the chase because the brakes are only 4-piston calipers, whereas we run 6-piston, and they just couldn't handle it. So, it was a cool thing, and it's good to watch Shane do well. And like I said, I just think it's a testament to what we do here in Australia.
Alright, we've got another question.
Yeah, question to all you guys. With the tweaks to the Fords, do you reckon we'll see the Chevs and Fords overtaking each other down Conrod with the toe? Are they close enough, you reckon?
It's not necessarily about that. So there's a couple of things. The little tweak that's been made to the Mustang is effectively about drag and trying to increase the top speed. Only looking for like half a kilometre an hour, right? So it's ridiculous numbers in almost 300k. But one of the things that happens in car racing, it's the lift to drag ratio. So it's essentially the opposite of how an aeroplane works. But when you've got drag, the car in front has to push a lot of air, right? So when you have a car behind, you want the maximum amount of drag for the car that leads. And probably one of the things that we've worked on a lot with Gen 3 was to penalise the car in front as much as possible. So don't make them aero efficient, make them have more drag. Yes. So the less and less drag you have, the less slipstream effect you end up having. So, hopefully on the weekend we're going to see, the two cars being very, very close, which we know that they should be and will be. And then the second thing is what's the quality of the racing? Because there's two aspects of Bathurst. There's the big run up Mountain Straight and there's the big run down Conrod Straight. But there's also the run across the top of the hill. So you always have this balance between straight line speed and how much downforce you have and how the car gets across the top. So teams will go about that differently, and the way that the teams tune those cars will determine on Sunday, what sort of pace they eventually have.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Hopefully it'll be a close race for the two brands. Yeah.
I think every year has been super close over the last 10 years, hasn't it? Yeah.
I mean, the racing, you think, since the invention of safety cars from whatever the year that was, the racing in the last portion of this event has been a sprint race for 20-odd years. So, we've had races that are, 0.2, 0.3 of a second over, 161 laps. So the racing quality at Bathurst year on year has just been extraordinary.
Another question, go for it, mate.
Yeah, this one's for Courtney. What's better to drive around the Mount, the BA or the Gen 3?
Oh, they're both super different. The old school stuff, they were fun. It's like Jack just spoke about. It's a completely different driving style. It was the new ones are nicer because they're new. I think that we have a fairy tale of what we think the old ones were like. I think if you jump from one to the other, you'd be like, oh, no chance. But, in your memory, it was a beautiful car to drive. It's like looking at an old car in the garage. It's lovely. It's so nice. Look at it, you get in and drive it, it's hot. It's heavy in the steering. It doesn't stop well. All those sorts of things. It's, fairy tale of it was beautiful, but, in reality, the new cars are much better. Much, ergonomically nicer, gearboxes are nicer, just mechanically everything about them is nicer. But yeah, they're still cool old beasts to drive around.
Thank you, Courtney.
When your team isn't speaking to you, like through the radio or whatever, what does your brain start going to? Are you thinking about the race? Are you thinking about random stuff? Like what are you thinking about?
Scary, not a lot. No, in the race, a lot of it like for me, I'm thinking about the situation you're in. You're managing the tyre that you're looking after, or managing the fuel, the guys that you're racing around. A lot of it is just thinking about all that sort of stuff and managing that, planning ahead. If you're catching a guy, you're watching the car in front of you, where it's a bit faster than you, where it's slower, planning. So as when you arrive, you sort of time your arrival where you're strong, so then you can pass them straight away. All that sort of stuff, managing it. But and then when they are talking to you, a lot of the time it's they're just telling us about information about the race to try and help us make better decisions. Yes, we are pushing hard in the race all the time, but we're sort of holding back in risky parts of the track, and if we're having to push harder, we know areas where we can drag a bit of time out of the car quite quickly. So it's just the whole session or the whole day is just managing that and just running over that situation in your head and not overthinking it too much. What about you, mate? I know you had to get told to breathe when you were racing.
I had to get told to breathe a lot, but I think one of the things that happens is that when you get into the race, there are very different stages of the race. So there are portions of the race sometimes where you've absolutely got to be doing qualifying laps. There are other portions of the race where you might actually have to fuel save. There's other portions of the race where the brake pedal quality might not be that great, and you're waiting for the brake change to come up in the next stop. There's times in the race around here where the tyre goes away. There's other races where the tyre doesn't go away. You don't really have any degradation. So it's almost horses for courses a little bit. You have to work out on that day what you have to do to win the race. And when you don't really have the radio contact that much, you're working it out on the run.
With next season, Toyota joining the circuit or the racing, how is it going to be managed? Are we going to have to go through a whole season now of getting the cars up to the same level to bring them up to parity?
Well, we've learnt so much. You know, we've gone through a massive system, which is, I would argue, it's the best level of parity of any racing series in the world. It's not the BOP system. It's effectively what we're dealing with is technical parity. We've got 2 different cars. We're about to have 3 different cars. They do have different traits just because of the size and dimension and the way that those cars operate. They're different engine configurations also. So the work that we've done in the wind tunnel, the work that we've done with all our dyno testing, the stuff that's on track is world's best practice. So we've learnt so much from the 2 cars that we started Gen 3 with that a lot of those learnings will definitely serve us well when the Supra comes on track in 26.
And there's a set of rules, isn't there, as well? It's not like Toyota's going to come up with a winged keel. Who's old enough to remember what the winged keel was? There you go. And it's not like they're going to be able to do that. You know, there's a rule book there that's going to prohibit that, but obviously they'll be looking for some technical advantages along the way, but it starts with the rule book. And it starts...
Who designed it? Who designed it? Well done, Ben Lexon. Right, we've gone too far now.
Didn't HDT sit it on the back of Brock's car pushing it to the grid in 84?
Exactly.
A big wing keel thing.
Exactly.
I don't even know what a wing keel is.
Yeah, see, you can tell someone that doesn't know their Australian sporting history, can't you, Mark?
Exactly, you can. Do you know John Bertrand?
That's a little... No.
No, okay.
You heard of the America's Cup?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Bertram, that's a boat, isn't it? That's
you're getting
that was a Bertram.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're getting
this
warm.
is a Bertrand.
Oh, okay.
And only the bloke that won the America's Cup for us, Ben Lexon, designed the wing keel.
Yep.
Okay.
But anyway, the day that Australia had off, Bob Hawke gave us a National Treasure Day for that.
Big Bob.
Bob Hawke was on the podium in Bathurst.
Doesn't he have the record?
It's when we had a serious political leader in the day.
He has a record drinking of the yard glass. Another guy who's probably pretty good at drinking a yard glass is David Reynolds.
Oh,
and lethal Holdsworth. Here they are.
fellas.
Hello, mate.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. We got a little
So
beer.
what's your
Didn't get the memo about the white shirt. Sorry,
Hello,
boys.
mate.
What's your yard glass time there, Dave?
I've actually got a story about the Ben Lexon.
Have you?
This would be good.
Yeah, so back in the day, they made like an 80s skateboard of the Ben Lexon, and it was like a wing skateboard.
Yeah.
And we had it as a child, and we left it out the front of my house one day. It was the most dangerous piece of equipment we ever owned, and some kids stole it.
Yeah.
And it was so dangerous, they actually brought it back. They didn't want it.
Is that the one where you leaned and it had wheels?
Yeah,
Oh, my mate had that.
Yeah, that was the design of the Ben Lexon.
That's a little bit like Alan Jones's wife had... No. Alan
dangerous,
Jones's
was she?
wife, she had her handbag stolen.
Okay, this guy was somewhere else.
And whoever took it was spending less. so he didn't report it. Yeah. So similar thing. Can't ride the skateboard, bring it home.
Who would have
That's
thought?
a good joke. That's a really good joke.
Who would have thought living in Albury, your skateboard would get stolen?
I don't know what to say. What do you expect?
Well, it didn't get stolen, so it come back.
Well, that's true. It was like a
Come back, it
boomerang.
was a boomerang skateboard. Yeah.
Probably stole it in the first place.
How dare you?
Oh, that's just out of order. Huh? Imagine Davey stealing something.
He's done a lot worse.
Yeah, exactly. How's your weekend going, mate? You good?
Good, yeah. It's good to be up here. Always enjoy the drive up, to be honest. Like I drove up all day yesterday. I was going to stop in Albury, but then I thought it was too dangerous because I knew
didn't want your skateboard
Dave and
being
his
stolen.
family are from
You would
there.
have slept in
and
my
friends.
bedroom, by the way.
Well, that sounds dangerous.
But yeah, I got
Not
up
with
to
me.
Albury, and I was actually going to stay with Dave at Eddie's family's place, but I was enjoying the trip so much I wanted to get here and see the mountain. So I got here last night, and big week ahead. Yeah, loving being here. Good crowd already. Pumped.
Both have won this race. not together though. So is it? What years did you win, David?
17 and he won 21.
Oh, whose was better?
Lee had his arm up on the window. That thing, that thing was cruising.
Lee and Chaz won it from practice 1 or 2 or something.
They
like
did
that.
escape
Top of
you
the
that
time
year,
sheet.
but got off the line.
Yeah, who crashed into you?
Hey, we've covered
We've
that already.
been through that.
Okay, you've already covered that.
It was full lounge spec when we were... No, Brocky spec, pretty much, our car. I was lounge chair. It was a lounge chair race car. It was mega. It was one of those cars, like you dream of those cars, and you only get it so many times in your carear where you just feel like...
I think we're yet to get
Yeah, you guys might still be waiting.
Overcome soon.
I had it once, and we
I'm not
made
sure
the
if it's going
most
to be
of
this
it.
year either.
It was a very cool day. Actually, from the moment, people ask you all the time before you get to Bathurst, you going to win, you're going to win? You go, mate, I'll tell you after practice 1, because literally you can do that first practice and you know you're either in for a good week or you're in for a struggle.
But that didn't happen to us in 17, by the way. Like 17, our car was probably like a P10, 12 car, and Al McVean made one change to the car and transformed it. We went from 10th to pretty much one of the fastest cars.
Driver?
What was it?
I could tell you, but I'd have to kill you. Well, obviously, since then, we've tried that change many times and it hasn't worked. So it depends on where you are in your setup window and what tyre you're on and the track and everything.
Just tell us out of interest anyway.
It's just a bit of rear spring. No, it wasn't actually. Something else. So, but it can't be that close that, one small change can make you like half a second faster or 8/10 faster or whatever it is, and that's the difference between 15th and first. Really, like it's. And it transforms the feel of the car, and you can actually drive it with so much more conviction and confidence, and get the most out of it. It's that sort of track.
But you think the two of you, with your wins, the cars were like that the whole weekend. So after that change, your car was basically the fastest car all weekend from that time.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then when you jumped in with Chaz, I mean, you were doing the same lap times as Chaz. The car was just fantastic, wasn't it?
Yeah, but as happens here every year, something always goes wrong. And although we had the best car, the mountain threw up a big challenge to us when we had a tyre delaminate in Chaz's stint. I think it was the second or third stint in the race. And at the time, I thought, there we go again. It's just one of those.
That's what
years.
we talk about.
The one that got away again.
We always talk about the mountain decides who they want to win, who it wants to win.
Yeah,
it doesn't always have to go to the fast car. It can go to whoever the mountain chooses that
Why
weekend.
hasn't it chosen James or I?
There's a reason.
Yeah, definitely a reason, eh?
Can you tell us what it is?
Have you ever dug a hole and betted a beer?
Mate, we've done everything.
Done everything.
I know
maybe we need to dig up the beer.
I'm having a beer.
It tends to have a lot of beer on a weekend like this, but that was one of my stories, actually. The mountain hated me. Actually hated my whole family for a long time. I came up here with my dad and my brother, and we drove in a little pink Astra. One
the
year
diesel
at the 12
one.
hour, the diesel. Mate, I spent more time looking in the mirrors than I did out the front. And someone hit Dad, or at least he claims they did, up the top into the S's and stuck him in the fence. The next year we came back for the 12 hour. My brother rode off a Commodore, and then every year after that, I swear I had an engine failure or something went on, and then I decided I'm just going to have to make friends with this mountain because it's just hating
It
me.
is
So I
living
went
and
up-
breathing.
Sorry?
It is living and breathing.
Yeah, it is, and it has a personality. It can be evil or it can be really lovely. So I went up the top of the mountain, dug a
It's
hole.
in polarizer mode.
Wait, it gets deeper. It's coming.
It's in polar.
It's really like a Rocky moment.
Wow.
Come on,
And
wait, there's a
dug a
punchline's
hole,
coming.
dug a hole, and I had a little word to the mountain, and I poured in a beer and I said, "Come, mate, let's."
Are
let's
you
be
being
friends."
serious?
This is a real story.
Mate, we're going to take a
Like,
case
dead
up on
set.
top of the hill tonight.
I'm telling you.
Direct from Nimbin.
Yeah.
Direct from Nimbin in the combi is Lee Holdsworth. So a little bit of hooch.
If you see JC,
There's
and I
probably
roll
plenty
around
of that
the
up there
combi, mate.
still as well, because we know people
Smoke
dig
pouring
stuff up
out of it
and
like Cheech and Chong.
place it there a few weeks before the round. So anyway, after that, we were friends.
What beer was
and
it?
ever since,
Was that in
we've had good
2020?
results.
2009.
It was like 2018 or something.
Oh, really? So only a few years after that, then you won Bathurst.
Yeah.
So what beer did you pour in?
Yeah. What's it like? A Great Northern?
It was tradie beer, I think it was. Yeah.
I don't reckon they were
I
around.
don't think they
tradie
were
beer.
around there. It must have been a sample.
I think you just made that up.
Cool story.
Yeah. Anyway, that's my story.
It definitely doesn't drink
But,
Foster's because no Australian drinks Foster's.
guys, I'm telling. Oh, yeah, that's true. I'd recommend doing something because it's not working for you guys.
So, because we haven't won it yet, what's it like?
Yeah.
What's it feel like? You three have won it. Give us a bit of a rundown. What it's like to run across the line at the end. Everyone flocks pit lane. It's choked. You're standing on your car.
Well, you get Jim Richards to give a speech on the podium.
Do you wear a leather jacket with ammunition in your pockets, or what do you got?
Just a pack of lovely people, aren't you?
Did you have anything in your pockets on the podium that night?
100%, absolutely. And that's what he said. He said to me, he said, what are you doing filling your pockets up? And I said, I'm going to throw a few back. And he said, no, leave it with me. I'll sort it out. And then he called the crowd a pack of arseholes, and it didn't work out that well.
What did they throw at you?
Beer cans.
Oh, no way, yeah.
Absolute grenades, like coming out as... And Leon Daphne's wife, Kerry, she had an umbrella at the back of the crowd, and she was smashing blokes with an umbrella, which was great.
Oh, Well, to be fair, it was a countback and it was pretty rigged.
What?
Not like David.
We got security here. He's about to get flung.
Step aside, stop by. Dave Reynolds has just stepped in front.
Yeah.
Scafey, did you go to the after party?
Oh, mate, we had our own gig in the
It was the Leagues Club back in the day, wasn't it?
Well, no, we dead set had security because, it was on.
It was
so we had to lock all the doors of the joint and all that stuff because it was feral. Yeah, no good.
Can we bring back those days? Those sound fun.
Okay, one of the other times when you actually didn't get stuff thrown at you, it must have been pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, life-changing day, isn't it? You know, we always say about Bathurst, and it is a Stop the Nation Day in Australian sport. So when you think about, winning, whether you win the grand final or the test match, as significant days in Australia, it's certainly one of those.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I didn't realise how much Bathurst meant to Australia until you actually win the race, and I had no idea who watched it, but a lot of people do. It's quite a cool feeling. And when we won it back in 2017, we weren't the biggest team in pit lane. We weren't, the favourites or anything. So it was even more special for us. So yeah, it was quite a cool thing.
Well, I think for anyone to know who won the championship, you've actually got to be a race fan.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. You got to watch it all year. You got to keep up to date with it. But it's like the NRL Grand Final or the AFL Grand Final. Whether you're a sporting, what are you looking at?
I just said NRL Grand Final. I knew you'd be excited.
No, I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah.
Are you disappointed, James?
Oh, massively.
He would be.
You can't win it 4 years in a row and then not win it.
Well, that's exactly what happened. We won 4 years in a row.
That's what I mean. You can't be disappointed.
Anyway, the Gold Coast won. But back to Lee's story.
And so you tune in on the day, and whether you're a racing fan or not, you sort of tune in and you know the result because the news comes on not long after. So you might be just tuning in for the news, but you catch the end, and it's always really exciting and keeps you on the edge of your seat. So it's a very special feeling to stand up the top of the podium and know that you've achieved a lifelong dream.
Would you say it's better than your championships?
Weirdly, I mean, I think there's a different policy for so many people. So you think about Alan Moffat and all those years. He basically set himself up for Bathurst. Your dad did the same thing. He didn't really value the championship as much. Weirdly for me, the championship was bigger for me because it was a whole year of racing, not one day. So yeah, I've always found that really hard to compare. And you know what this place is like. It's so cruel. It can be so great, or it can be so cruel.
The worst.
So one race on one day, I find that hard to compare with a complete year of racing.
Did you ever come here as a kid before you were racing?
No, actually I didn't. The first time I come here was 2004.
They had a non-Albury policy, mate, in those days.
There was no wing skateboards down the hill. But in 2017, there's an interesting story for you under a safety car, was there?
Yeah.
Oh.
So 2017 safety car was one of the last safety cars you know, the safety car pulls away and you're cruising down Conrod Straight at 80 k's.
Is this on the left?
Yeah. And the safety car pulls away and you're kind of just sitting at 80 k's and you kind of got, I don't know, there's like 30 or 40 seconds before you get to the last corner to restart your lap. So you kind of have nothing to do except maintain your speed and have a look around. I had a look to my left and there's two ladies that show their titties to me. Like full
She
flash
got the whole
me.
field. I saw him too.
And I was like, no, it was at me, definitely.
It's a great country. It's a great country, isn't it?
It's
It's
a
a
great
place-
country. Bathurst does mean a lot to a lot of people.
I know. I was like, what?
It's a great country.
But I thought I didn't want to radio in and tell the crews like, "Hey boys, guess what I've just seen?" Because if I sprayed it and stuffed up, they would have gone, "Oh, you won't concentrate in Reynolds." So I had to wait until I got back to pit lane to tell them that story. So
I
Still
remember,
remains one of the best days of your life.
yeah, it was. Yeah,
What year-
definitely.
yeah,
In many ways.
Back through the footage and found it.
I remember when someone told me that story, and I said, "That's rubbish.
No,
There's
I
no
went-
way." We went back through the camera, and sure enough, a couple
It
of
was
sets
there.
of white pointers there. So.
It's just about where Kenny Bull's place is.
Pretty close. Pretty close too.
I think they were rather cold at the time.
Any,
Bit nippy, you reckon?
Yeah, a little bit nippy.
any stories like that from back in the day?
It was the only place
My first.
that Lounsey and I could hook the radios up with each other. So in at Indy with 98 or 99, when it was a demo race, you can imagine what's going on. It's, you know, sort of schoolies for adults, and there's units all over the units. And
The back straight was known as Silicon Valley.
yeah, it was. And the boys would allow us to hook the radio up. So when we're driving around on the formation lap, we could spot wherever all those were, and we're talking to each other, which was very funny. And the boys were scanning, and they thought that was worth listening into.
It's horrific around there. I remember my first year, I was there in 2006. I was walking through with all people, my mum, and someone just starts yelling out "red top," and I look across. My mum's got a red top on, and my mum's like, "What are they saying, honey?" And I'm like, "Mum, just keep walking."
Head down, Mum,
Put your
keep
head
walking.
down. She turned around. No, she didn't. I was joking, Mum. I was
My
joking.
first year was like 2005, and I just got a sore neck from looking up all the time. Like I was just looking up all the parties going on, and I just couldn't believe that stuff happened. It was unreal.
I'm going to get this podcast back on track.
This is a podcast, though, isn't it?
Yeah, I
That's
know,
what we
but
talk about.
the visuals that you're representing aren't on the podcast when people are listening. So
Oh, we can find stock footage, I'm pretty sure.
I want to ask you, Skaife, some Peter Brock sort of stories, memories, racing with him here, because I dragged out some old footage, 97, and you got to qualify 05 here and whacked it on pole. So tell us about, you know, racing Brock's car, qualifying Brock's car, what that would have been like, because my memories of Brock are just as a young bloke, you know, and I never got to do what you got to do with Peter.
Yeah, it was an interesting year because it was Brock's final race. It was actually
The first final.
His first retirement. But you know, he just had this magnificent following, and in lots of ways I worked it out when I was with him for a couple of the race meetings prior to Bathurst, where he just basically was just completely in fan land and corporate land, and his media commitments were just out of control. So I concentrated on the car, drove the car, which is relatively easy. And then that year, so I qualified, he started, and your old man and he had one of the great battles at the start of the race. So in 97, Larry and PB, they just kept on breaking the lap record in the start of that race. It was one of the great races. And they just consecutively broke the lap record, you know, lap after lap. And two blokes, Pete was 52 at that stage. What your old man would have been 47, 48?
Yeah, 47, yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, that was just fantastic. And, you know, fortunately I ended up getting that gig with HRT after Pete retired.
It's crazy, like, to think how long ago that was. And like I said, I was just a young kid walking around the pits, but I can remember PB, like, would always nurse a cup of tea and stuff like that. And I don't know, it's folklore now, isn't it? You know, it's up to guys like yourself to pass those stories on to these young kids, because soon enough, a lot of these young blokes won't know who Peter Brock is, will they? You know, and he's the king of the mountain.
Yeah, but when you watch the old footage, he definitely had some sort of like charisma about him, didn't he? Like he had like a I don't know, just like an...
I think it oozed out of it.
You reckon it oozed
that
out
much,
of it? But you know what I mean? Like, even when you watch old footage, he had like a presence that still isn't matched today in people that I haven't seen in anyone since.
Oh, well, he was just a sporting megastar of the day.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Like Shane Warne and those guys.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
He just had so much, gravitas with him. But he also, there's times when you think about drivers at Bathurst and you think about Brock and you go, 1979, to break the lap record on the last lap and win that race by 6 laps. 6 laps. Just absolutely hosed the field. And there are not many people, if you think about the history of this race, there's not many people, don't think about the 9 wins necessarily, because a couple of those he jumped in other blokes' cars and stuff. But the reality of him at his best around here was just extraordinary. Even that race in 87, when it was wet, and he drove the car like on slick tyres when everyone else was on wets and they were all getting back onto a slick at the end. It was one of the best drives I've ever seen. Like him driving around here, he had a real affinity with the place.
I wish I was around to see it. Hey.
Yeah. It's nothing but history now, isn't it?
There's not many people that are going to be able to, Lowndes obviously has a huge following, but no one ever will touch that.
Yeah, I agree. And it's a challenge for the sport because, we need to have household names. The last proper household name probably of the full-time guys is Craig. So, one of the things that we've got to do is continue to do more to have our very best drivers front and centre.
It's like you need a big scandal or something.
You could be our man, Dave.
More than a stolen skateboard.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But what Mark, in your opinion, what made the drivers so charismatic back then and so controversial? I think in my opinion, it's probably that they were allowed to race. They were allowed to say what they wanted. There was payback. It was a bit NASCAR style.
Yeah, look, I think there's lots of elements to it, Lou, but it's a great question because, it is a real challenge for the sport and the industry. And if you go right back to the start, there was the good side and the bad side. So Brock was perceived to be the good bloke, and Alan Moffat was perceived to be the black hat.
Yeah, hero and the villain.
And the hero and villain, Ford versus Holden, all the rivalry, all the stuff that we talk about right now, this game would nowhere near be where we are right now without those two gentlemen. So when you go through then the phases of that stuff and you look at how much of their fame come from not just driving the car, but all the other stuff they did. They just did so much stuff off the track. So, Peter Brock was on the board of Collingwood. I mean, it was just extraordinary. He was. He was on the board of Collingwood.
I never knew that.
Didn't know anything about football. But
he had all his teeth. Surely he couldn't be a Collingwood
But he certainly knew
supporter.
something about cars, right? So you think about all that stuff that was going on. He was effectively the Special Vehicles Department of Holden of the day, and I know he tore all that up. But at the end, he had so much brand behind him, and he was a great brand.
Yeah. But I think also, the rivalry that came through, even between yourself and Russell Ingall, that made huge news. And
Murph Ambrose, it
made
was
something
awesome
to watch,
back in the day,
every time you were close on track, it was like,
was
what's
on.
going to happen? You beauty, let's see what happens here. Who's going to take out who? Who's going to swerve at who here?
I think some of it could have had to
very
do
cool
with...
to watch.
Sorry, some of it had to probably do with, you built your own car back in the day, so you really backed your team and your boys, and you were a part of that experience, building your own car, and you took it to the track to try and beat everyone. Well, these days it's kind of different. You kind of get... Everyone has a similar car, and there's no real ownership in, designing your car anymore. So maybe there's something to do with that. Maybe.
Are the drivers too close?
Yeah, definitely.
I would have never...
And it's a different day and age.
Probably do too much together, to be honest. Too many media commitments where we're all together signing
definitely.
sessions.
But I also
and all
think
the rest of
everyone's too friendly now.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, definitely.
I could never understand Jamie and Will Davison, how friendly those guys are, and they were racing each other for the championship and still hanging out away from the track. I talk to these guys, I like them, but I don't hang out with them. Jack's probably the one that I hang out with the most. When you're on the track, you can't be thinking about, oh geez, I'm going to be having dinner. I'm his best man at his wedding. Another one is Cam and Chaz. That's a strange dynamic. And for those guys, like I always question Cam about it, and he's like, I never think about that. And I'm like, mate, 100% subconsciously, you would be thinking about that.
The amount of times they've crashed into each other, they should hate each other.
Exactly.
But they're off having dinner tonight together.
But it's a really good point, James, because, I mean, when I was driving a mobile cigarette packet for Holden and Glenn Seaton was driving the rival mobile cigarette packet for Ford, we grew up together. We were best mates. But at no point would we ever on the racetrack even think about not firing each other off or doing whatever it was, right? The rivalry was so extreme, it never had a bearing in any way of what actually happened on track. I reckon,
it does become
I reckon it
personal,
does now.
though, yeah? Like, if you have a clash on track, it becomes personal.
100%.
Yeah.
A bit like 2012 last lap of Bathurst, Dave.
What are you saying, Jack?
You should have taken your mate Whincup off the track to win.
Oh, if I got close enough, I would have, yeah.
Mate, you just clear the brake pedal, you get close enough.
Well, that was a good race because he was short on fuel and I was short on tyre, so I had a big delaminated tyre I was trying to nurse to the end, and he was trying to save fuel, so that's what made the race good.
But if he wasn't your mate?
Oh, I would have taken my opportunity, yeah. But if I had my time again, yeah, I wish I just fired down the inside, and because I back then, that was my first podium in supercars. So I knew it was such a long day. We started 6th or 7th or something, and I kind of didn't want to stuff it up and put myself in the fence and, blow it up to smithereens. So that was part of my rationale of not lunging, but I probably should have if I had my time again.
Well, let's
so I didn't know I was going to win one later, if you know what I mean.
But let's hope you get the chance to lunge in this weekend. But that's all we've got time for today. So I'd like to thank everyone for coming out and supporting us, listening to us talking absolute crap for a lot of it. And thanks to the Knickerbocker Hotel for supporting the Drivers Only podcast. We'll see everyone on the mountain.
Thank you.
Well done. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.